Today we're going to talk about SD cards, their speeds, and their types. There sure is a lot to talk about. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? Phil here with Bull City Pictures. And hey, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. If you do subscribe, please click on that bell icon. Also, leave a like if you like this video and a comment. Let's talk about SD cards. It's a fairly simple subject. A lot of people know them and use them in their digital cameras, but it's really potentially confusing. This is meant to be a high-level overview. We're not going to get into any great detail because we could certainly talk about the subject for an hour or maybe even more. So what I want to talk to you today about is the different pieces of the SD card, the capacity, which is how much it can hold, the types, the different types of cards that there are. So there are a number of different types based on standards that have been set. Also, I want to talk about the speed class rating, a number of different speed class ratings and different types that you can get there, and also talk a little bit about the read and write speed. We'll get into this a little bit more, but here is a UHS-1 type card versus a UHS-2 type card. You can see the UHS-1 has one row of pins. UHS-2 has two rows, theoretically allowing it to transfer data twice as fast. So what we're going to do is we're going to test four different cards, a 30 megabit per second, 80 megabyte per second, 150 megabyte per second, and a 260 megabyte per second. I've got it set up here on my Sony a7 III, and you can see I've taken 10 pictures, and that top left of the camera shows how many shots are left in the buffer, which basically means that I've taken those shots and now they need time to clear. So this is really where the write speed comes into play. So you can see how quickly these are being written to the SD card. And again, this is a SanDisk 30 megabyte per second SD card. That is the read speed. Sometimes you have to search for the write speed, but generally the write speeds are faster as you go up. And this takes around 35 seconds or so. So that was the SanDisk Class 10 UHS-1 30 megabyte per second. Here is the SanDisk, another SanDisk, same basic card, but at 80 megabytes per second. You can see again, we're taking the pictures. Now the buffer is clearing. We're at 7 shots, 6 shots, 5 shots. So basically what we'll see as we progress here is that the higher the rating of the card in megabytes per second, the faster the card basically will be able to clear that buffer. So you can see we're coming now to the end, and there's a timer on the bottom left. You can see the number of seconds. So that was the U1 class, 80 megabytes per second. Now we're going to move on to the Lexar Pro, which is a UHS-2 150 megabytes per second card. And you can see that this goes very quickly. And that was about 8 seconds or so. And now the Sony 256 megabytes per second. And you can see that this one's going to go even faster. Took about 6.5 seconds or so. So what does all this mean? You've seen a lot of numbers. Again, it can be kind of confusing. There are different types, which are for your capacity. SDHC, which is up to 32 gigabytes. SDXC, up to 2 terabytes. XDUC, up to 128 terabytes. And then there are different speed ratings or bus speeds. So the bus speeds are rated in UHS-1, which will go up to 104 megabytes per second. UHS-2, which will go up to 312 megabytes per second. And then there's a UHS-3, which will go up to 624 megabytes per second. So again, this was meant to be an overview. There's just a lot to talk about here. So thank you for watching this. To Phil with Photo Gear Fun. Get out there and have your photo gear fun. We will see you again in the next video.